Yo, what's up everyone? Cast Jupiter here, coming at you with another Real Talk. Now listen up, I got something important to address today. We're diving into some serious stuff, and I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. This ain't about just picking sides. This is about truth and what's right. So, buckle up, because we're about to break down some things that need to be said. Let's get into it. Alright, let's talk about Silver, or as some of you know him, ABE Gamer, or ThatLightninBirdGuy. This dude's been stirring up drama left and right. Silver's a guy who's been hiding behind his keyboard, causing unnecessary problems for people, and to top it off, he's claiming to be an Angry Birds fan, which doesn't really match his actions. He's been causing tension in communities, attacking others for no reason, and twisting the truth just to make himself look better. But honestly, he's only making things worse for himself and everyone around him. So, what's really going on with Silver? Let's break this down and talk about it. Silver's a guy who's been acting all high and mighty in the community, but when you dig deeper, you start seeing the cracks in his image. He's been throwing accusations around, calling people out for things they didn't do, and making it all about him. If you ask me, this guy doesn't really care about what's right or wrong, he just wants attention. And what's worse, he's pulling other people into his mess, trying to control what people say and do just to fit his narrative. Now, don't get me wrong, I know some people might be thinking he's just misunderstood, but when you keep pushing lies and pushing others down, there's no excuse for that. You can't just pretend everything's fine when you're actively making things worse. So for everyone watching, pay attention. This isn't just some random drama. This is about taking a stand and making sure things don't get out of hand. Silver's got to realize that sooner or later, it's going to catch up with him. You can only push people so far before they start calling out the BS. So let's get on into a response, shall we? Yeah, he is trying to be desperate for attention. I don't mind him apologizing because those type of people like him didn't deserve any respect, because if they do this in real life, but to just making fun of people's feeling, they're gonna get their skull bashed in by other strangers. Instantly knock them out. But if someone trying to say that to any person to kill themselves, that is considered a death threat and heartless. So let's just respond to this. Yo, Silver, you really want to do this? Fine. But let me make one thing crystal clear before we get into this shit. Don't go around acting like you're the one who's always in the right. Everyone knows how you twist shit, making it look like you're the hero when all you do is stir the pot. So sit down, shut up, and listen. Magnus, aka Gage, might have said a lot, but let me just remind you, dude, don't even try to go after someone's channel for things you don't understand. That's some weak shit. Seriously. You've been running your mouth for too long now, acting like you're some kind of judge over everyone else, but let me break it to you. You don't have that power. No one's impressed with your I'm right and you're wrong attitude. It's pathetic. If you honestly think you can just toss someone's shit out of the window because it doesn't fit your narrow view, you're dead wrong. If anything, Gage deserves more respect than you're giving him right now. Now, I'm gonna be real with you. I've had enough of your little antics trying to drag people down just because you feel like it. You keep pretending that you're just trying to help, but everyone sees right through that. No one's buying the act. Stop pretending you're some kind of authority on what people should be doing. You ain't shit when it comes to being a decent human being. I mean, I don't care how you try to spin it, Silver. Your whole vibe reeks of someone who's too desperate for attention to think straight. And for the record, don't even think about making this a bigger issue than it needs to be. If you keep going down this road of being a self-righteous dickhead, don't be surprised when everyone just turns their backs on you. You can't keep riding this wave forever, trust me on that. Keep throwing your tantrums and thinking you're the one in control, but it's not gonna last. You're playing a dangerous game here. And I don't care what anyone says. So, yeah, here's the deal. Think long and hard about what you're doing, because messing with the wrong people might just end up biting you in the ass. Gage's channel stays, and you need to get that through your thick skull. But the moment you cross that line, you're out. Done. And I won't hesitate to remind everyone who really started this shit. So keep that in mind before you make another dumb move. Silver, you want to keep running your mouth about Magnus and his stream? But let's talk about something else you clearly don't understand yet. You've never met Frank, right? Well, let me give you a bit of a reality check. Frank, aka Vager's official channel, isn't someone you want to be defending, and you better stop pretending like you know what's going on here. This guy's got a whole fucking history of being a piece of shit. Magnus, myself, and others have been speaking out about him for a reason. Now, you're acting like criticism isn't okay. But when you're talking about someone like Frank, criticism is the only fucking thing that makes sense. You can't just sit there and ignore the fact that this guy's been exposed for being a damn predator. He's gone after kids in the Sonic community, including a 16-year-old. And we're not talking about some innocent disagreement here. Frank's been on some wild shit. And people who call it out aren't the ones in the wrong. They don't sit there and act like it's all just some petty drama, because it's not. Frank's the kind of guy who doesn't know how to keep his fucking hands to himself, and you're just gonna sit there defending him? Well, no. You shouldn't be friend with someone who is a pedo, not unless if he redeemed or learned his lesson. Let me break it down for you. Frank doesn't care about boundaries. He's attacked kids online in places like YouTube and Discord just to tear them down, make them feel worthless, all because they dared to criticize him. These aren't isolated incidents either. This has been happening for a long time. And just because you don't know this guy personally, don't think for 1 second that it doesn't matter. When you start defending people like Frank, you're defending the worst kinds of people. And that's exactly what you're doing by not acknowledging what's actually been going on. Silver, you can't just act like it's all a misunderstanding. This is a pattern of behavior and it's disgusting. If you want to keep defending these kinds of people, don't act surprised when everyone else starts calling you out for it. You're only digging yourself into a hole you won't be able to crawl out of. Frank's a predator, plain and simple. And if you're still sitting there talking like it's all just criticism gone wrong, then you need to rethink what the fuck you're standing for. Silver, seriously, what the fuck do you think you're doing telling Magnus to delete his videos for no damn reason? You're trying to control something that's none of your business, and frankly, it's pathetic. You think Magnus should just sit back and let you dictate his content? Nah, man, that's not how this works. And let's talk about you being the leader of the ABE community. You're a fucking joke if you can't even control your own fan base. If you're gonna lead, you have to step up and take responsibility. Not let your followers run wild and make you look like an idiot. The fact that you can't even manage them speaks volumes about your ability to handle anything. Maybe it's time you started thinking before you open your mouth and start showing some damn leadership instead of pulling stupid shit like this. You really need to get your shit straight. Magnus's video wasn't some personal attack. It was for constructive criticism. He didn't make that to tear people down. It was to help them improve. If you can't even understand that, you're beyond help. It's not all about blindly defending every little thing. If you're so damn sensitive about it, maybe you should reconsider how you approach feedback. Maybe then you'll stop making yourself look even worse by telling people delete videos that are clearly meant to improve, not harm. Look, Silver, you've got to understand something about the ABE community and where this is all going. You and your crew can't just pretend things are perfect when people are literally criticizing the whole damn thing. It's fine if you want to defend the people you care about, but that doesn't mean you can shut everyone down when they're trying to talk about the real issues. You can't just sweep stuff under the rug and call it hate. The records show you're going to call yourself a leader, you need to step up and acknowledge that things aren't always right, and that it's okay to have some tough conversations. People need to be able to speak their minds about what's wrong. This is the problem I have with Perso stepping in the wrong way. He's out here trying to shut down critics instead of listening to what's actually being said. The ABE community has some serious things to work on, and ignoring those issues isn't doing anyone any favors. If you want respect from people, you need to start showing you're willing to listen and actually take the criticism to heart. That's the only way things improve. But instead, you've got this weird power struggle where you try to dictate who can and can't talk about the community, and that's a one-way ticket to failure. When people point out problems, it's not some personal vendetta against you or anyone. It's people trying to make the whole damn community better. But if you're more interested in attacking the messenger instead of actually improving things, you're going to alienate the people who care most about making a difference. So here's my advice. Instead of doubling down and demanding anybody take down videos and shut everyone up, take a step back. Start listening. Start improving. And maybe, just maybe, people will start respecting you and your community again. Because right now, it's not looking so good. Silver, I need to talk to you about your latest video where you're claiming Magnus as a creep and a pedo defender. You've really got to think about what you're saying here, especially when you're throwing out accusations like that. Sure, Magnus might have his flaws, but when you make a video like that, you're not just attacking him, you're attacking his entire community and anyone who associates with him. And that's where things get tricky. Here's the deal. If Magnus's subbase is going to come over to the ABE community and start spreading that kind of hate, you've got a real problem on your hands. People are already spamming in Discord with all sorts of disturbing content, including offensive memes, nudes, and stuff that's downright disgusting, especially when it involves children and anime. You're supposed to be in charge of this community, but some of these people on Magnus's server, they're predators, they're creeps. Some of them are minors themselves, and they've been using alts to spread even worse content. Like, in the debate with you and some other guy who was a big weirdo trying to take Alan, we are not talking about Magnus's subbase. We're talking about your weirdo friends or members on one of your Discord servers or on your YouTube channel. I get it, you're defending the people you care about. But if you're just going to ignore the reality of what's actually going on behind the scenes, you're making yourself part of the problem. Those servers need to be watched, Silver. Those people need to be held accountable. And you can't keep covering it up with false claims and slander. So I'm asking you, man, take a step back and think about this. Maybe it's time to take a good hard look at your community and deal with the real issues instead of making videos that just make things worse. You need to understand that Magnus's subbase isn't just going to sit around quietly. They're paying attention to the EBE community, and if they start calling out the things that are happening in your group, you better be careful about what they're doing. If things get worse, they won't hesitate to blame you for letting all this drama with Alan's situation continue non-stop. The way you're interpreting this, I don't think you should take it seriously. People are already growing tired of this back and forth, and if it keeps escalating, they'll just walk away and find a different group to back. You really need to step up and handle this before it all spirals even further. Dude, you're standing at a crossroads right now, and you need to realize that what you're choosing to support or not support will have consequences. You can't just pick and choose where you stand when it comes to important issues like freedom of speech. Either you're for it or you're against it. There's no middle ground here. This isn't about sitting on the fence or trying to make everyone happy. It's about knowing exactly where you stand. And that will define what kind of person you are in all of this. You can't be wishy-washy on this, Silver. Freedom of speech is something that you either support wholeheartedly or you don't. If you support it, that means you have to accept the reality that people will express their opinions even if those opinions challenge what you believe. You can't silence people just because you don't agree with them or because they might say things you don't like. That's what people on the other side want. And you need to ask yourself if that's the kind of world you want to live in. Do you want to live in a place where voices are shut down? Where everyone just agrees with each other? Or do you want to let people speak their minds, even if it's uncomfortable? It's not always easy, but that's the price you pay for standing for something. For something, of course. If you're against freedom of speech, if you want to shut people up because you don't like what they're saying, then that's your choice too. But don't pretend it's something else. You have to understand that standing against free speech means you're endorsing censorship. You're saying that if someone doesn't agree with you, or someone says something that offends you, they should be silenced. And that leads to one thing: control. It's about controlling what people can and can't say. Do you really want to be on that side? That's a dangerous road to go down. It's not about looking good to your audience. It's about the principles you stand by and the kind of future you want for your community. So stop trying to play both sides. You need to decide where you stand. Are you going to support freedom of speech, no matter how messy or controversial it gets? Or are you going to be part of the problem and let people like Magnus be shut down because of their opinions? The choice is yours, but don't try to act like you can have it both ways. If you're going to stand up for something, then stand up for it fully. Silver. If you refuse to take criticism and continue to support pedophiles, or allow people to falsify evidence like fake screenshots or impersonating accounts to attack Magnus, then you're digging yourself into a deep hole. Magnus isn't just going to sit back and let that happen. He has the resources to check everything, his messages, social media accounts, all of it, to make sure this doesn't get twisted. If these fake claims continue, Magnus's sub-base will be all over it, exposing the truth and debunking the lies your side is spreading. This could lead to a temporary alliance against your drama, one that'll last only as long as it takes for the truth to come out. If you keep pushing this, you might end up compared to a character like Thrag from the Invincible series, the emperor who strips people of their freedoms. Thrag uses manipulation and power to control everyone around him, much like what you're trying to do by shutting down criticism and enabling harmful behavior in your community. And just like Thrag, the consequences for your actions could be severe if you keep this up. Think carefully before you go down that path. Before you make any more moves, think carefully about what's really going on here. Alan's drama is old news. It's been dragged through the mud already. I'm not sure how old you are, but if you keep framing victims and attacking kids with false accusations like pedophilia, you're going to end up with no one trusting you. People won't want to be associated with someone who supports that kind of behavior. Sometimes the best thing for everyone is to leave the drama behind, go separate ways, and let it fade into the past. It's the safest option for everyone involved. For the sake of everyone else involved, you need to take a step back and think about the bigger picture. The drama isn't worth continuing, and dragging innocent people into it only makes things worse. If you want to be taken seriously and have any respect left, you need to stop supporting these false accusations and manipulation. People will appreciate you more for letting this go, and it'll make things safer for everyone. It's time to put an end to this and move on before it ruins everything for you and others. Silver, you should know that we're watching closely. People are paying attention to every move you make, and if you keep going down this path, it won't go unnoticed. If you keep defending the wrong side, making false claims, or manipulating situations, there will be consequences. It's in your best interest to make the right choices now, because the spotlight is on you. And people won't forget your actions. I've seen it before. I need to make something very clear. Magnus doesn't owe you or anyone else the obligation to take down his videos. The content he's posting is within his rights, especially when it's aimed at constructive criticism. You don't get to decide what stays up or comes down just because it doesn't suit your narrative. That's not how free speech works. Demanding that someone erase their videos isn't just overstepping. It's a sign that you're not willing to face the reality of the situation. Magnus is using his platform to discuss issues he finds important, whether it's your community or anything else. Trying to silence him only makes you look insecure and unwilling to take accountability for the actions within your own fan base. If you have genuine issues with his content, then address them with evidence and reason, not demands or threats. Trying to control the narrative by forcing others to comply with your terms will backfire, and it's already creating fractures in your community. People are starting to notice this pattern, and it's only hurting your credibility further. Magnus has every right to keep his videos up, as they're not breaking any rules. If anything, they're serving as documentation of everything that's been happening. You might think taking them down will make the situation disappear, but the truth is, it won't. The internet doesn't forget, and neither do people. They will remember how you handled this, and if you keep acting like this, it will come back to haunt you. Instead of trying to erase the criticism, why not reflect on it? If you believe Magnus's points are invalid, prove him wrong with your actions, not by erasing his voice. Trying to silence him only reinforces the perception that you have something to hide. So I suggest you think carefully about how you want to proceed. Demanding takedowns isn't a solution. It's a desperate move, and it's one that's going to damage your reputation in the long run. Don't be so arrogant. Not for long. Your entire life you have decided to focus on what happens. So, well, it's unhealthy. Think carefully about what you're doing. Alright, Silver, this is my final word on this matter. You're not fooling anyone, Silver. What's even worse is how Persot seems to be defending known predators and perverts, pretending they're victims. If I decide to expose those screenshots from Magnus on my channel, trust me, you and your weird friends will learn the hard way. I couldn't care less about the video you made about Magnus, me, Shades, or anyone else in this situation. But unless you all admit those are your guys' faults and apologize to everyone involved, but how about for a change? You want to permanently end this conflict for once instead of saying this is final warning or demanding to take down videos without any specific reason, then change your fucking ways and get on with your life. Even the rest of your friends, don't fuck this up. The more you do this to us, the more we'll go back right at you. We already took down the official Vegas channel since the last time we called him out for disgusting shit that he has done. YouTube has clear guidelines about harassment, misinformation, and targeted attacks. If you continue pushing this kind of behavior, it could lead to a strike or even the termination of your channel. Magnus's actions, alongside his sub base, show they're not afraid to stand up for what's right. But you're putting yourself in a dangerous position. Take this as a warning, not just from me, but from the broader community. Stay within the bounds of fairness and accountability. Think long and hard about the choices you're making, because they're shaping your reputation. I'm done wasting time, but you better believe that people will remember the way you've handled this. If you're set on continuing down this toxic path, just know that you're not going to escape the consequences. So choose wisely. For the sake of everyone else, it's time to let this drama go and move on. Take care or don't. This is your mess now. That's all for now. This is Cast Jupiter. Peace out.